All right, it's going. Look, people watching right now.
We were 20 minutes early and I thought I was late.
I mean, I still did like set up everything, but the lady last time we talked about like well no, I think it was like 2 finance meetings ago. Maybe it was the last one, the internship one. Okay, yeah, Laura Brown. I didn't know her name. She I kept talking into this and like it was like, hey, I work head of students and how are you all doing? Like, it's like getting very engaged. And I was like, there's nobody watching right now. But it's good that you're like aware of it. What's that? Yeah, exactly. I was like, I almost like said something. I was like, it's better off. Yeah. And then like one meeting here, I'm gonna hear that one. And since you're from that, I was like, I'm gonna turn around and show everybody. All this space from 118. It's still there. I don't know. I know like last semester we'd have like 4 or 5 sometimes. It's pretty cool.
Hey.
This is not a crazy one.
Also, we have official brochures now that go over the new VMC program for Bloomberg. Some of these already are paid. You want to grab these afterwards if you want more information.
I don't really know.
Put your name down. You can like do it again if you want, maybe.
Yeah, I just love to do the project for you because I had such a blast.
You want to step in for me?
I like that one. Once I told him I wanted to tell him, he back, he's like, then I guess I want to be an option too.
One there.
Hey, grab some pizza if you want.
Yeah, we can put one more here. Good asking you, man. Everyone's gonna want to sit near you. That's why.
Actually, I think I want this.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Me too.
Hey, where'd he go?
He said he's like a mini rotation. I think it's February. He starts his first real rotation.
Where is he right now? I think you should actually
Someone
still
just
like
called
phone
us,
center.
and then we would have
Okay.
I didn't see there was a texting. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Are you fine?
I turned out it was only like one tray. And like, yeah.
Hey, is this yours, Natalie?
It's yours.
Yeah, because I lose all my pencils. And I gotta keep track of them. Yeah. Can't have anybody taking them from me.
Get your life together, boy.
It's a tough task. So maybe we'll think that it's together.
Yeah, they were.
You and me
I
both.
saw them all.
Yeah. There's so many times where I think like things are so out of order.
I saw.
How do I hear so good together?
It's like it still pieces out, like works out. Sometimes I just
Jesus always takes the wheel.
he does.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. Someone is.
Because I don't have the wheel.
Someone else is steering, but it's going good.
Killing it. didn't know that. He like walked away.
We've had a great turnout.
Oh, so you just talked about it. You're like, we need to give
Yeah.
5 minutes.
You're like, yeah, she would play something.
Yeah, somebody heard me. My prayer was answered. So
Okay.
it's his viewer. Too.
Oh, I still have a shirt for you in memory. I keep forgetting.
No, I've been so busy. I wonder if it goes to viewers.
Oh, it's okay.
It probably does.
Like really.
It's like 10 viewers.
So I think we have.
All right.
Sometimes I go a long time. How often do you do your laundry, Corey?
My laundry? It's due like every week or every other week. Depends.
That's more orderly than I thought you were going to answer.
It's like once a year. Yeah, it's like times where I like in the gym a lot in the week. I like go through all my stuff.
Oh, Lisa, you came. There's that perfect cheater. This is her last day being 21.
Really?
I know. Her
It's
birthday's
tomorrow's
tomorrow.
the birthday.
I already
I'm good
planned
at
my
that.
Instagram post. I already planned my Instagram post.
Oh, you planned it?
So far away. I feel your perfectness radiating.
You know what, Natalie? This is bullshit. You call everybody perfect. I thought I was the only one. So I feel like
Corey, you
She's like still doing.
are easily top 10 for the perfect guy.
all
Me
right.
and Sarah had that conversation. We decided you might be top 5 actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That was your choice? Hey, you thought about this? Oh, sorry. I'm just looking out.
I appreciate it.
You just taking the wheel right there.
Yeah.
Wait, now it's like a little further.
Are you serious?
All right, no, look. No, you're good. You're good. I mean, you'd rather me tell you.
Almost definitely.
It's
When
like
I saw
my,
you at State College, just so you know, you had charcoal all over your face, but I figured you would.
charcoal?
Yes.
How did that happen?
You were grilling. I don't know if you made out with the grill. Like,
I guess he's
Really? My like girlfriend came up and she just like he's just a lost cause. We'll just let him go.
do you remember seeing you?
I do.
Okay.
Because I was at the I don't know, one of like the group tailgates.
Yeah.
And I like took control of the grill. Like we didn't even know the people there, but I was just like grilling things out. I
Perfect.
was like, all right, yeah. I got the dogs, the burgers, like don't worry.
I love how happy and sharing and generous everybody is at State College. They're just like, have a great time. We all love each other. This is Penn State.
Yeah.
You're my family.
Yeah, like literally on those.
We're gonna start passing this around because we have way more than
Yeah.
8 people in this room. So everyone, please sign in. Even if you're not a member, don't want to be a member, please still sign the sheets. We know how many people were here. Thanks. I think it's 5 o'clock now, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, and we're live?
Viewers,
That's here.
moved up.
We're streaming live right now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, awesome. Thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate everyone being here. All you World Campus students, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions for our speakers as we go along, email jqm5698@psu.edu and I'll make sure they get asked. All right, we've got a really great attendance. If you haven't gotten pizza yet, go ahead, feel free. We have pizza, we have soda, and we'll go ahead and get started. So just a couple of announcements so far. First of all, we're going to have a holiday party at the end of this year. It's going to be on December 10th at 6 p.m. at Dr. Philbeck's house. So if any of you are curious, you want to see what Dr. Philbeck does in all of his free time,
2 L's.
you can go. We're going to have it catered by Moe's. Cost is going to be $4 for any members in good order. That means if you paid your dues and signed up, it's $4. Otherwise, the cost is $10. Catering, and again, that's December 10th at 6 p.m. Email me. We need to know a week before the event. So December 3rd is the hard deadline that you must get your money into me and let me know that you're coming. Because again, we're getting this catered, so we don't have a whole lot of flexibility with that. So let me know by December 3rd if you're coming. And we hope to have a really great turnout. It's going to be a really great time. Additionally, we're going to have some volunteer events coming up in the near future. Eric, could you come up and talk about that real quick? Or just stand up and here, yeah.
So we have some volunteer events coming up. We have sign-in sheets over there. We went over them at our last meeting. But next semester, looking ahead, we have an opportunity to volunteer with an organization called Junior Achievements. And because of new laws that have been passed in the state of Pennsylvania, they're becoming a little more rigid with their volunteers because we work with minors. So you go into elementary schools, or sometimes they have clubs and after-school programs you can go and volunteer with. And so it's not too hard to do, but you have to be on top of that paperwork. So I have the waiver form and all the forms you need to fill out. So be sure to email me if you'd like, and I can forward that information off to you. For example, next semester, I'll probably be going into a 3rd grade classroom and teaching them about finance and entrepreneurship in one of the inner city schools. And I know that they'd love to have either someone come along with me, and so we can be cooler than just myself, or you can go on another day to another classroom. They have a lot of need. They're really cool organizations. So.
You'll put your email address up on the whiteboard?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Thank you.
And we'll follow up with an email blast with all this information to everybody so that we can, so you'll have reminders as to where to respond.
Email me.
We'll be doing that typing program again next semester.
Yeah, and that's with the Junior Achievements as well. So.
And that was a really great event last semester. We're hoping to do that annually because it's just good to get out there and talk to the students. I know I'm still stupid with my money, but I was even dumber with my money when I was, just out of high school. So it's really good to give people just a sense of what finance is and how to handle their finances. And Dr. Philbeck, you said you had a few things?
Yeah, just a couple of things real quick. So first, welcome to our World Campus students that are joining us tonight. Also want to let you know that Bruce Gray, who is an alumni of Penn State Behrend, he graduated in the early 80s with an accounting degree and has been a very loyal supporter of our program. In fact, as some of the guys here will certainly testify to this, he's been working with them every other week. He is the Senior Vice President of Bank of America in New York City. He's going to be on campus on November the 9th, and there's a full day of activities going on. He's going to be speaking in 4 different classrooms, meeting with some students in various capacities. You should have gotten an email blast from me on that, and there's an opportunity for you to come to a reception, also to a meeting that will occur during the day, which is about Bank of America. So there's a multitude of different events taking place. I would encourage you to sign up for that. I'll do one more email blast on that. So if you haven't had a chance to sign up, make sure you sign up by the deadline. We'll need to know something here in the next day or so. It's out posted on Facebook as well. So thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Next order of business is elections. I know all of you just love seeing me up here talking to all of you and all of our officers, but I'm graduating, so are many of our other officers, and we need new officers to take their places. So we've got 8 slots opening up. We'll just go through the list. First up is president. President is obviously in charge of the club. They're ultimately responsible for everything that happens. They coordinate the FO properly and make sure anything special is happening, and to coordinate with Dr. Philbeck to make sure that we're on the right track. So, without any ado, let's have nominations. I'd like to kick it off by nominating Max Morrow for the position. Do we have any other nominations? All right. Show of hands, all in favor? All right. Passes. Max is the next president of the FMA. And actually, can I borrow your pen? Because I passed mine out, but wanted to sign out. Thank you. All right. Next up is vice president. Eric's been my VP for the past year. The vice president's job is to support the president. They make sure that everyone's on task, that the president hasn't missed anything, and they handle anything the president can't do. I know there's been one meeting that I wasn't able to attend this semester because I was sick. Eric stepped up, and that's what the VP has to do. So, do we have any nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Richard Kelly.
All right. There's a nomination for Richard Kelly. Do we have any other nominations? All right, all in favor? All right, Richard Kelly passes. All right, next up we have the secretary. The secretary's job is to make sure that we keep careful notes, that we know what's happening. A lot of things get discussed at our meetings, both officer meetings and normally, and the secretary's job is to keep track of it all, to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So, without any further ado, do we have a nomination for secretary?
I nominate Jess Nagy.
All right, so we have one nomination. Do we have any other nominations for secretary? All right, all in favor? Nomination passes.
I don't know.
All right, next up we have treasurer. Treasurer's job is to handle club funds. All the money we get from dues, all the money we get from student activities. They have to keep track of it all and make sure people are paying their dues. And when we need to spend money for things like our end of the year party or pizza and soda we have at every meeting, it's treasurer's job to get that money and spend it. So, do we have any nominations for treasurer? All right, do we have any other nominations? All in favor? All right, motion passes. All right, next up we have our vice president of promotions. Their job is to coordinate with school business for those giant signs that you see, promoting our meetings, to update our Facebook page, to keep track of our web space, and really just to make sure that people know all the cool stuff that's going on at any given moment with the FMA. So, do we have any nominations for VP of promotions? All right, do we have any other nominations?
Turn this thing.
All in favor? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, next we have our VP of programs. VP of programs job is to coordinate to make sure we have speakers at our meetings, to do any kind of special activities that's going on. We also handle our live streaming of all of our events. Make sure we have the tech in place, and they act as, at the moment, our camera person. So, with that in mind, do we have anyone to nominate to replace Corey here?
I nominate Bill.
All right, do we have any other nominations? All right, all in favor? All right, next we have our VP of networking. VP of networking's job is to keep in touch with our alumni to make sure that we, keep a good base of alumni. They handle our newsletter and any kind of outreach to former students that we want to keep in touch with. So, do we have a nomination for VP of networking?
I nominate Andrew.
All right. Do we have any other nominations? All in favor? All right, motion passes. All right, last but not least, we have our VP of membership. VP of membership's job is to make sure that we are up to date on our member roster, that we know who's in the club, who's not in the club, who we need to keep in touch with. It's a really important role. So do we have any nominations for VP of membership? Does anyone want to do VP of membership?
You can self-nominate.
You can self-nominate.
Very coveted position.
It's a great chance to get involved in the club. It's a great bullet on your resume. It's really not that much extra work, but it shows leadership, it shows involvement, dedication to the club.
You're also the liaison with the national task.
Well, upon his transferring to University Park after a semester, for time being, I'd like to nominate Frank Shell.
Okay. All in favor? All right, passes.
Okay, one quick question. There needs to be, could not say after for a quick group photo. Okay, got it.
I have the Bloomsburg test.
Okay. So I may pull you guys off to the side, if we're right close to 6, the good of us, I need to schedule time for all of them, so.
Okay. One final announcement before we get to our speaker. We are going to be visiting Erie Insurance on November 17th. We've already had signups for that. It's a full roster. Everyone that signed up for that, please stay after this meeting. I've just got a couple of things to discuss with you. Anyone that can't, let me know, and we'll set up an alternate meeting. All right, thank you. And now without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Dante DeSantis.
You got it.
All right, I pronounced it right. He is in the Penn leadership program, very recent graduate, and it's just a great program. I think some ridiculous percentage of Fortune 500 CEOs have all gone through that program. It's a great way to introduce new graduates to finance and corporate finance and what the company needs to do to be successful. So without further ado, let me turn on your screen.
All right, thanks, Josh. I just want to thank Josh and Dr. Philbeck for asking me to come speak with you all. It was short notice, and I spent a lot of my time Saturday when I was dressing up as Toucan Sam to think about what we could talk about today. And instead of going down, I'm sure you guys hear a lot of heavily technical finance things. I wanted to go down more the route of advice because it seems like a lot of you guys will be graduating and going on to your first jobs outside of college. So I feel like I put together a nice pitch here for everybody to pull one thing, maybe two, about if it comes up, what you guys can do and tackle in the real world. So let's just get right into it. A little bit about me. I think it's important to know a little bit about your speaker whenever whenever you're speaking. So I'm originally from DuBois, Pennsylvania, small town in the middle of the state. For those of you that go to University Park, you probably pass the exit to my house on the way. I transferred here in 2011. So my freshman year, I went to a school down around DC called the University of Mary Washington. And I really like the area down there. I love the winters. I just didn't like the bill at the end of the summer, or at the end of the spring. So decided to transfer, and luckily ended up here at Penn State Behrend. Real quick, this was probably one of the best decisions I ever made as far as my short 23 years have been. But I met a ton of friends here, had a great experience playing baseball, and had a lot of really good professors that, without them, I easily wouldn't be up here talking in front of you guys or working at GE. So when I came here, aside from majoring in finance, I played collegiate baseball for 3 years. I was a pitcher. Don't have a shoulder anymore, so yes, I was a pitcher. And, it was, like I said before, a great experience. Pulled a lot of great friends from it, and, a bunch of people that I played with are working at the Oracles of the world, Mars Pet Care, a lot of big businesses. So not only do I have, I have friends from finance that have really good jobs, but there's a bunch of guys from the baseball team that I tap on whenever I have questions about the corporate world. And, hey, this person said this to me today, how should I take that? So, not knowing going into it, it's been very helpful having that background. So with this next one, created and ate dog treats. The summer of my senior year, the summer going into my senior year, I got the opportunity to work down in Nashville, Tennessee. So I was in the accounting overheads team with Mars Pet Care, and got to do a couple of good projects on, getting costs out for the business, all overhead costs. So as glamorous as overhead costs can be, it was a really good 15 weeks in Nashville. And, just a quick story, when I was down there, they took us to a lab and they gave us six different ingredients, and it said, make whatever you guys want. These are the ingredients we use in our dog treats. So we were all just kind of looking around, and we were making, it was like bacon and cheese and corn. So I was just like, I could eat this. And one of the other interns just told me, they're like, there's no way you're going to eat these dog treats. And by the end of it, I had about 20, and I think I walked out with 5 left. So, aside from that, it was a great experience, but my dog treats would be definite hits on the sauce. And then this quick stat, I want to keep this light. I really want you guys to be interactive. So if anybody wants to challenge me to a hot dog contest, I did eat 6 in 5 minutes. You have to put onions on them, boom boom sauce, ketchup, mustard, or it doesn't count. And I'm willing. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so if we want to go right after this, we can head down to Buffalo Road. But in all seriousness, I just really want to dive into something that I want to dive into GE and the program, because it's really a phenomenal program that I'm in. So as you can see here, I have stats about GE Transportation on the left, and then stats about my program on the right. So, we have approximately 7,000 employees, hourly and exempt, and we roll up about $1 billion in inventory. So as you can see, a lot of costs here. $100 million P&E spend, which the role I'm in right now, I'm the person that reports out our P&E spend for the month and for the quarter. So with dealing with that much money, you know, in class, if you have a rounding error of, if you're off by a decimal, you get the problem wrong, I just got to be within $1 million. So, you know, there's a lot of scale here where it's a little different once you move up from college and onto the working world. But specifically with my program, it's a 3-year program. So each year I get to do a new job within our supply chain finance team. So my first role last year was I was in UX, which is called Unit Exchange, and dealing mainly with road rules. So has anybody here ever heard of road rules as far as accounting goes? And that's how I was when they told me my first job was going to be in UX. I was like, what in the world is a road rule? So go home and Google what road rules is. I could probably spend 6 hours up here trying to explain it to you and still wouldn't even get the point across. So we're just going to completely move on from UX. And I'm currently in an FP&A role. So we roll up, you know, all the costs from our different structures, from sourcing, the inventory, the UX, and then all of our manufacturing shops. It's been a lot of great exposure to, you know, high-level employees, executives, senior vice presidents, etc. So I've gotten a lot out of this role. And then my next role, I'm scheduled to be a plant finance manager. So I'm going to be, you know, the CFO of the entire building that I'm running or wherever I'm at. So normally you do your third role outside of Erie. So I'm really pulling for a Grove City or a Dallas-Fort Worth role. But we'll see where that goes. And, you know, so one thing to note about this program is I take classes. So the entire time I'm in this program, I'm taking classes. I have homework, I have tests. If I don't get, I think it's 85. If I don't have an 85 in the class, I fail the class, I get fired. So, I mean, there's no pressure really. But it's really cool. So the first class was a lot about, you know, your fundamental accounting. Second class is all about operations, so cost accounting, you know, productivity metrics, a lot of things that we don't get at least I don't remember getting a lot of experience with in school. And then the third class that I'm in right now is all about controllership. So, you know, you talk about controllership, but when you actually see real life business examples, we do a ton of case studies, and then you can see some GD examples where it's just like, what were these people thinking? How did they think they were going to steal $1 billion from business? But it's been very interesting, and I have my last test. Sad to see these classes go because we get to be with other businesses. So I'm with Power and Water, Energy Management. I've met 30 or 40 other kids, and you know, we take a week, we do our classes, we take our tests, and we normally have a little fun at the end of the week. But it's a really good experience. I've met a ton of people through this program. If any of you are interested in this program, just, you know, stop up here and talk to me. I might not be best resource as far as getting resumes and giving them to people, but I can definitely find you somebody if you're interested with, you know, getting into the program. I would recommend it to anybody. So with that, we're going to get right on to the meat of the pitch. So I like to call this the 5 golden rules to tackling the real world. And I quit sharing, so. All right. So rule number 1. Own your technical skills. So what are technical skills? Who wants to try and give me a guess at what I've been saying when I mean technical skills?
What we're learning right now.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, these are things that really, before you even get to the work world, you can sit there and you can work on your technical skills. So I was trying to think of examples when I was building this pitch. And there's 3 big examples I think that you guys have a great chance to build your technical skills. And the first is, I don't know, do they still offer the SAP and the Oracle certifications? Yeah. I think every single person in here should strive to go get those, because you know, you think, oh, I'm going to a finance job, I'm going to be looking at financials all day. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm probably dealing with IT 50 to 60% of my day. So to be able to understand how SAP and Oracle interact, how they work, what won't work, what will work, it's very beneficial. I went to GE and they gave me my Oracle logon, and I was pretty much just clicking at a screen because I didn't know I had to hit F11 to get the screen active to search for what the information I was looking for. So there's just very little things with SAP and Oracle, and for those of you that have used it, you know it's very finicky. If you hit one key wrong, it's going to take you the whole way back to the main menu, and I really think those certifications would be beneficial to anybody pursuing a finance or accounting career because, for instance, I'm at one of the biggest companies in the United States, probably in the world, and I'm spending 45, 50 hours a week in Excel. And companies realize that people are using a lot of the Microsoft Office suite. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Excel, but there's ways that SAP and Oracle that nobody's tapped into that can just run these reports for everybody. So businesses are really trying to drive toward becoming more technologically smart and utilizing these ERPs that they have. They're spending billions of dollars on them. They're figuring they need to start getting more out of them. So I can definitely see, you guys as well as myself, we're going to be heavily involved with implementations, Oracle or SAP, depending on which company you're in. Like I said back with the Microsoft Office suite, there's things, Excel is just a monster, and you guys could definitely be using Excel every single day with your homework. There's ways you can build things that'll just run themselves. You could have your homework done in 10 minutes once you have it set up. So I really think that you guys should work on your Excel skills now, as opposed to going to your first day on the job and then telling you to do a pivot table, and you're like, what in the world's a pivot? Kelsey can't do a pivot table. So Kelsey decided to jump ship. She used to be on our team. She was like, nope. So we got Lauren. Lauren's on the team now. She's a real winner. Sam said she was coming, but
It's her birthday.
whose birthday?
Yeah.
I wish I would have known. I wish I had a birthday at work. Happy birthday, Sam.
She's
But
tuned in.
yeah, they can tell you firsthand how much I'm sure they're in Excel every day. It's very beneficial. And if you ask me how I learned about Excel, YouTube. When I first started, probably for the first couple months, and I was just learning about Excel, I honestly would have a YouTube tab open at all times in Chrome, and I want this stupid VLOOKUP work. I jump into YouTube and figure out, it has to be to the left. There you go. So there's just little things you can do with that. And then the third part is really taking the time to learn just, finance and accounting acumen. So the vocabulary, things like that. You'll hear every day like, you're going to study for 4 years and never use anything in school, blah, blah, blah. I'll completely disagree with that. Like, are you going to be running net present value analysis as an FP&A analyst? Absolutely not. But I taught myself how to learn these huge topics and then got thrown into a large company where they say, figure this out. And whenever you can kind of make an apples to apples comparison, you really realize that, wow, school and the work world is, hand in hand. So I think really taking the time to understand the basic concepts while you guys are in school, there's no better time to do it. You're in class 3 hours a day and then you're not working. What are you doing other than watching Netflix or listening to music? So the technical skills are something, I put it first, but I think you guys can really work on that right now and just walk in with a leg up on the competition, because you're all competing. It's a giant competition once you graduate. You're going to be competing with him and she's going to compete with her. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful world we live in. So the next one, as I walk down this road to success, is stay flexible and learn to prioritize. So what I mean by stay flexible is you have to be willing to relocate within your means. So, I'll pick on Kelsey again just because I know Kelsey. If she knows she doesn't want to leave here, she's close to her family, like, say, somebody's sick in the family, whatever, then she would be dumb to be looking for jobs in Arizona and California. It would just make absolutely no sense because, one, it's enough of an adjustment to start working every day. But two, if you know that you're going to be wanting to be home every week, that's going to be an expensive flight. So you need to be flexible within your means. If he wants to work in California, great. That he just opened up the entire map for where he's willing to work, and it's going to be easier for him to find a job. But you just have to come to grips with, okay, I want to be within 2 hours of home. Home's Erie. I can go to Buffalo, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, or Portage, or whatever else is easy. But Jamestown. So, as long as you can come to grips with that, you can really narrow down your job search. That was something with me. I'm not really locked down geographically. So that if they would ask me at work, hey, do you want to go to Dallas? I'd say, all right, let's go. Or whereas, there's people that I know that'll just be like, absolutely not. I'm staying in DuBois, Pennsylvania my whole life. I'm going to work at this bar and I'm never going to leave. So there's just things that where being flexible can really benefit you in your career search, but you can't be too flexible because if you know it's not going to work out, it's just never going to work out. And as far as prioritizing goes, I mean, you guys hear it every day, I'm sure, time management, dude, blah, blah, blah. But when you get into work, you're literally going to be given more work than you can possibly get done in a 24-hour time frame. So you need to figure out, okay, this is due Wednesday. I need to do this first because this Friday thing I can get done on Thursday. So you really have to, time management is key once you get into work. And it took me, I used to say in college, everybody would be like, oh, you need a notebook to write down what you have to do when. And I was like, no, I can remember it up in my head. I write stuff down now. I have sticky notes all over my cube. So I can really say that tactic of understanding what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and how you're going to do it is really key. And third one is change is a good thing. If you don't have family ties to the location and you're like, hey, maybe I'll go to Florida. I can honestly say my year in Mary Washington, it was 6 hours from home, was the best experience of my life because I got down there. I didn't know one person. I went down there. I was doing. I wanted to get into government, so I was taking all those kinds of criminal justice classes. But I didn't know anybody. I walked in. I met my roommate. I actually met his sister because she was unpacking his stuff, and I was like, "You're not Mitch." And then she's like, "No, I'm Hallie." So it was. I knew it was going to be easy when I walked in there, just as far as meeting people. But for the first month or two, I just wanted to sit in my room, read my textbooks, and I really didn't get out much at all and meet people. Thankfully, I played baseball down there, and that got me the automatic 30 friends. But other than that, I think it would have been. I found out to myself, I always thought I was a personable person, but I wasn't nearly as personable as you need to be, and that'll get you just as far as it will, with a 4.0. I actually experienced that. I've seen friends with 4.0s and high 3.9s not get jobs because they're just straight bookworms. They can sit there, read a textbook, and read it back to you. But if you want to ask them who won the game the other night, they're gonna be like cap them. So we'll hop on to the third one here. Be a sponge. Not like SpongeBob, but be a sponge as in take it all in. So, I can remember the first time I sat in Dr. Philbeck's class and he actually taught the entire 50 minutes and it was probably a chapter or two and I was just like, it's gonna be a fun semester. So, with that class, I really got to just kind of take it all in, digest it, go back, read the book. Things are especially in work, you're gonna be thrown a million different things. You just kind of take it all in, absorb it before you make any rash decisions. I could have been like, I'm never doing finance again, drop the class, join another major. I mean, being a sponge will get you very far. And there's a couple tactics that I do as far as being a sponge goes. And the first is taking notes. Every meeting, we have a ton of staff meetings. Every meeting that I've been in, I take a notebook, take the date, and I write down, even if it's just I hear a word, abbreviation, I'm like, what in the world is that? I'll just write it down, and I probably won't raise my concern in the middle of the meeting and embarrass myself, but I will go to whoever said it after the meeting, and I'll find out what it means and write it down. And I have like 6 notebooks in my cube right now, the big ones that are just front back filled. And they're just all definitions from my very first day. And I'll go back sometimes, look at that first day and be like, how dumb were you? Like, what in the world? I should probably throw them away because they're really no use. But you really can kind of measure where you're at once you take the notes. You're like, wow, look how far I came in 6 months. 7 months down the road, I'm beating myself up because I can't remember something. And then you go back and I didn't even know what this abbreviation was. How am I going to sit here and beat myself up? Because being in, I'm sure you guys all do very well in the classroom. You're just so used to, killing your classes, next, killing the class, next. Well, in work, you're gonna get beat down a few times, and you really find out, what you're made of whenever you can do that, or whenever you can bounce back from that. And being a sponge is just the easiest way to do that. And probably the biggest thing here is you're not going to know everything. You're not going to be an expert in a huge company. The only thing you can do to curb that is know who is the expert. So if I know Kelsey's an expert in one task, I'll know a little bit about it. I'll know enough to get myself in trouble, but I'll go to her for anything advance. And you can kind of maneuver your way around there from person to person to figure out who you need to go to, when, where, and then once you do that, at the same time you're networking, they're learning more about you, and eventually, you'll become a business expert in that task. But it's just very easy to keep the day moving and learn more when you know who to go to. And eventually, you'll become that person that everybody's going to, and you're just like, I haven't gotten there yet. I've witnessed, but just shoot away. Do we have any questions? I don't want to just sit here and do all the talking. I want this to be interactive. One question before I move on, or else you guys will never know the fourth and fifth.
Did you begin your career at GE then, I guess?
Yeah, if you don't want to copy information, because sorry. So, I guess I should have went there, but I had a couple interviews. I found out about it in March. I had a bunch of interviews till about mid-April, and then got the job offer and started in June. So, late in the hiring process, but really quick once it happened. April, May, and I was working in June. So, I think I had 2 or 3 weeks off from graduation. But no, we can talk more about the exact process and everything at the end of this. But no, it was hectic. It's stressful. Anything else? No. Never fear failure. So with this one, it goes a lot back to like what I was talking about with doing well in the classroom. I was lucky enough. I did very well in my classes. Really wasn't used to for the most part, I was seeing A's and high B's the whole way through. So failure never really occurred. Baseball is probably the first area of my life that I got to really experience failure. And take it how you want, but if you get 3 out of 10 hits in your career, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. You're going to be a professional baseball player. So you're failing 7 out of 10 times, and you just if you can't handle failure, you're never going to be able to hit a baseball. It's like I'm sure you guys have all heard Edison, 10,000 tries to make a light bulb. He didn't fail 10,000 times. He just found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. So without failure, you're never going to find innovation. You're never going to really find out who you are. So you can't go through life, your career, work, and be like, I don't want to do this because I might fail. Because if you do that, it's going to be mediocre. That probably sounds terrible, but you're going to be, average in your job because, this person will get it done, but you're not going to find a new process. You're not going to think, hey, you're not going to dissect it. And maybe we were doing it wrong all these years, but if you wouldn't have dove into it and not been afraid to fail, then we would have never found that out. So, being able to go into something willing to fail is just a huge attribute that you can have. And, with that at work, you're going to fail. I've probably done, 5 or 6 or 60 things wrong. 100, I don't know. But, and people are going to be upset. You're going to get feedback, as they like to call it in the corporate world. And you just got to go in knowing that, this isn't class anymore, where if I don't turn in my homework, they're going to say 5 points off for you and don't do it. If I don't do my homework, I'm going to get yelled at. And I'm going to say, they're going to say, that's due to me in an hour. So it's just like, you just got to really know where the audience that your work is for. And then you got to know how they're going to react. So if I know I have a bad story to tell, because it's inevitable, you're in finance, you're not always growing. Things aren't always going well. So when you have a bad story, you just have to be able to say, here we were, here we are, and this got us there. And you can't argue numbers. My boss always says it's just math. That's all it is, guys. It's math. He likes to beat that in our heads, but it's true. It's your number goes from 5 to 10 somehow. Like, it doesn't just we woke up and it was 10. No, so you have to really be willing to take feedback in the business world, and you gotta look at it positively in the end. So if somebody's not yelling at you, then you can probably guess like, wow, they either really don't care or what I did for them really doesn't matter in their day. But if somebody's taking the 10 minutes out of their day to give you some feedback, then one, they either care about your development or they really care about their report. And if you're doing a report that they really care about, then you should really be going after that 110% and trying to give the best report ever. I'm very competitive, and I don't like to see errors in my reports, but when I see that error, I just make a mental note and I say, you know what, don't make that error again. And that's really how you learn. So through failure, you learn. And I can honestly say that out of all of my learnings at GE, and even in school and baseball, if I wouldn't have failed at certain times, I would have never learned what I know today. And a lot with the Excel and even conceptually in GE, without the failures and the constant Dante, never again, blah blah blah. So that's a golden rule that I like to have within this golden rule is just if you fail, make it one time. That's your first time. That's the only time, and then you'll learn from it, and you'll fail at something different, and then you'll learn there, and eventually you're pulling this all together and painting a really nice picture. So four down. What's your favorite?
Failure one, I think.
Why?
I mean, I agree with you. I've had a number of failures in my life. I probably had one today that I don't even, that I don't remember about. But it's like the best way to learn, I think, is just diving into anything. I mean, going up and talking to somebody you don't know. If you sound like an idiot, then hopefully you practice a little bit for next time that you go up and talk to that same person. Yeah, because there's so many people, so you probably won't see them again. So failure one resonates, I think.
I mean, no, that's a good point. Nobody's gonna be perfect. Everybody's gonna fail, so you just gotta go for it. And the people that take the chances, so when you get to GE, when you get to a big company, everybody's the 3.5, 3.8, 4.0 student. Everybody there is smart. So it's how you differentiate yourself between constantly staying at the analyst level or eventually getting up to that executive level. You got to do something to differentiate yourself. It's just like differentiating the portfolio. Last one. See, I'm so close to success. Enjoy the process. The process can be a lot of different things. When I think of process, I think of, I keep going back to Excel and Microsoft Suite, but the process of me going from one report that took me 4 hours to do to this new report I created that takes me 10 minutes, and it's all interactive throughout the tabs. That's a process, and I really enjoy that. One, because it's a creation that I had. It's something that I built this. If you click on the info, it says by Dante DeSantis. So it's gonna stick until they find a better way to do it. But you can put your stamp on a lot of things, and I really do enjoy that part of it all. And then the bigger picture of the process is enjoy where you start to where you're at now to where you're gonna be. So I started not knowing anything. I had no ties to GE. I went to GE, and the first thing I learned was that they call the logo a meatball, and I was like, "What in the world are they talking about?" So the process. I look back at it today. Today I made a few mistakes. And I was super upset with myself. But if I look back now, talking to you guys, I'm like, wow, I came from kid that didn't know what the meatball was to being able to understand what mistake I made today. So when you kind of string it all together and pull out your roadmap, there's a lot of things to be happy about, to be positive about. I'd be lying if I was sitting here saying every day was awesome and I love work and I can't wait to wake up at 7 and go in tomorrow. But it's just life. It's inevitable. That's why I really wanted to have this pitch with you guys, because you're all going to the working world, and they call it work, they don't call it fun. So there's going to be more days than not where it's stressful. It's time. You're going to be there. You're going to be there 10, 12 hours a day. It's just and it can beat you up, or you can just kind of take it in turn and be like, I'm gonna. Like the other day, I was there till like 8 o'clock, and I was just like, I'm gonna be here all night, and I just started laughing about it and kept working. And next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, it's time to go. So there's always a bright spot in whatever you're doing. So quick story: when I played baseball at Mary Washington, I played for this real little guy. He was just like the meanest man I've ever met in my life. I've never been called more names, more of those 4-letter words than any time in my life. So I think maybe it was through the first practice I called my parents to play. And and they kind of gave me a good talk. And so then I just kind of made it my mission to either I'm going to go to practice and how many times can I get yelled at, or I'll count how many times he's going to yell at me. But I'm just going to try to get better. And honestly, from that experience, we never saw eye to eye. We never will see eye to eye. But through that experience, I feel like my progression in baseball was I was there for myself. I was there for my teammates. I wasn't there for this guy that's going to sit here and call me everything in the book. So there really is a bright spot. You're going to have managers that you don't agree with. They're going to tell you. They're either going to tell you or not tell you what to do, and they're going to leave you hanging. So there's going to be times in your career where you're not spoon-fed, and this isn't in a textbook. You got to really use what you've learned, make assumptions, and just run with it. And you got to just really be happy and enjoy everything that's being thrown at you. I try to smile every day. I have a pretty big smile on in that picture out there. After I think 3 tries, because I wasn't smiling that day, and the camera guy told me I had to smile. So. But honestly, if I had this talk with you guys 6 months ago, it wouldn't be anything like it is now. I was in the dumps. Why can't I go back to college? This sucks. It's everything in the book, and I can honestly say if you're not having those thoughts in the first couple months, then you must really love what you do. And it took me a while to understand the bigger picture and everything. I was like, I'm at this huge company, experience of a lifetime. Half my friends are back home, not even working, with 4-year degrees, paying loans. I don't even know how they're paying them. And here I am in a great company, learning every day around a ton of great people that genuinely care about you. And it's just something that you can really run with. And honestly, if you sit there and beat yourself up every day about how terrible something is, you're going to drive yourself nuts. You're going to end up quitting and making a rash decision. And in the end, it wouldn't benefit you. You got to look down the line, You can't be so narrow focused where you're looking at next week, saying how miserable you're going to be. Look 10 years down the road and let's be an executive, and then think about how happy you're going to be seeing that paycheck every day. So, and probably the biggest thing with the process is networking. So, I was talking to a kid that I graduated with from here this weekend. He's like, hey, I saw you on Facebook, blah blah. And I was like, yeah, I had no idea what I'm talking about. This was pre 2 can Sam, and. So we were going through it. He's like, make sure you hit on networking. So he's at a big investment bank, and he told me he gets contacted by a bunch of different Penn State schools, but he's not heard from one Behrend kid. And I said, well, maybe they don't want to be in investment banking. Maybe they're smart. And he's just like, no, but seriously, and I was just like, no, it's a great idea. I've never heard from anybody, even just you can find me on Facebook. I belong to the Finance Club. Now you guys know me. If you need to message me or whatever. But, just reach out and be inquisitive. And once you ask the question, I'll remember, oh, yeah, his name was John. And yeah, if they ever see your resume or whatever. So you guys really need to think about where you want to be. I've been in corporate finance, it's my internship and now, so that's really all I know. But if you want to be in wealth management, you have Dr. Robbins, you have Header at H-Dog. So, you can really go to these people and ask them, hey, what would you do? Can you put me in contact with somebody? Can you give me a free internship? Just anything. You gotta show the initiative, because a lot of times nobody's gonna say, hey, I'm from Deutsche Bank, will you come work for me? Because they got millions of people, every day emailing them, sending their resumes with resumes that I'm sure are identical to yours. So sitting here watching those elections, I was just like, man, I wish I could give this speech before, because then there'd be people volunteering to really bolster their resume. But I mean, it's just, you got to have fun. Life is fun. I wouldn't say it's fun all the time, but I really strive to just go about every day with a smile, having as much fun as possible. And to be honest, when I got the email Friday about speaking with you guys, I was just like, absolutely not. There's no way I'm going to stand in front of a bunch of people I don't know and talk. And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I remember sitting in these things, wondering, having 10 million questions about what working is like. And, I wish I would have asked them back then. I was very, very passive sitting back there. I was probably sitting in the corner texting, or had my hat over my face with a little nap going. So just getting the extra credit, right? But seriously, take advantage of everything. You guys have a great network here. Dr. Philbeck does a wonderful job. He still keeps in touch with me. He's the first person to wish me happy birthday. So he beats my mom. He beats my mom. I think my mom got the live feed and is watching right now. So don't ask me, but Mom, Dr. Philbeck beats you. Wish you happy birthday.
There he is, right there. He's beating you, man.
Yeah, so it's funny. I'm everybody at work found out Justin. So you guys know Justin Gallagher, right? He won that big election. I love Justin. He won it. So, anyways, he sends an email to the entire finance team saying, "Look who the star Behrend is," and there's a picture of the easel out there. So I've been getting nothing but a million questions from everybody, and then somehow people start getting the live feed as well. So now I think there's people from work watching. So hopefully I don't get critiqued too badly when I get back tomorrow or tonight. But no, it's all fun. You know, I took this and ran with it. I really hope you guys have questions for me, and even if you don't want to ask them now, you can ask me after. But I hope you guys could just take one thing out of this, and you know, you can always take good out of a good situation. If I hate how Dr. Philbeck, if I would say, for instance, Dr. Philbeck's my boss, I hate how he is as a boss, then you learn how not to be as a boss to people that whenever you're a manager, or you have that awesome manager. You're like, I want to be like him. I want to do this, this, and this, but I don't want to wear that funky cologne. So you can really run with any interaction is a good interaction at the end of the day. You can sculpt the person you want to be when you're 35, 40 as a manager. And I know it's way down the line for all of us, but eventually you got to start trying to put all that into perspective. So with that, I don't know if I'm short, I don't know if I'm long. Do you got any questions? About 10 minutes of questions.
Is PFLP exclusive to GE Transportation, or is that part of it?
No, so let me think. Everybody but aviation has it. It's a new program at at Transportation. We first graduating class was 4 years ago. So I don't know. I mean, the CFO at the time really enjoyed the program. He came from lighting, and I'm pretty sure it was lighting, and they were big proponents of the program. So he brought it over, said, "I want this program." Now there's differences. So in the other businesses, it's only a 2-year program where you have a year rotation and then 2 6-month rotations. But at Transportation, they really want us to see a full business cycle. And I can honestly say, I'm not bragging, but the PFLPs I know at Transportation seem to have more knowledge base than the PFLPs that, there's obviously points. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I really think like you see a full business cycle. You see the ups at the end of the year, you see the downs. I mean, you can kind of see it all. You see the quarter point, you get to see 4 quarters where, there's no activity all month, and then somehow they're going to ship everything on the last day of the quarter. So it's really cool. Classes are awesome. So like I was saying, we get to take the classes with them. So I've met them. I've met all the PFLPs and other programs, and we get to. So it's basically like you fly in, you get dinner together, and then you have class all day, test, then you have to do a big pitch. So they give you a case study. They give you 3 hours. And you have to put together a PowerPoint, pitch it out to executives of that business. So we get to go to different businesses. I've been to oil and gas in Houston. I've been to healthcare in Milwaukee. I've been to places in North Carolina. But we got to go to our plant down in Texas. So you kind of get to go. You do the plant tours because really we're the liaison between operations and finance. We're their go-to. We have to understand how the product works and then be able to apply the finances to it. So it's a very cool program. And at the end of the week, we normally go out, have dinner, stay out a little bit, enjoy each other's company. I probably talk to a lot of guys from the other businesses more than I would talk to people with Transportation, just because we're really close. I was actually bummed I was supposed to go down to Clemson, Florida State this weekend, football game, but plans fell through. So no, it's really good. It's a really good networking opportunity. What else? Anything?
What do you do after the 3-year cycle?
So the 3 years are up, and you get offered a full-time job within the supply chain. Most of the times as a plant finance manager. So a lot of times, like if I'm a finance manager down in Texas, they just say stay down there, and that's your full-time job. And then I think it's like a year and a half you sign on for. So you normally will stay in the role, or like if it was me, I would probably try to take a role that I didn't have. That way you can really learn. I don't want to be locked in with one part of the supply chain the whole time. if I don't know how to do sourcing finance, I'll go do sourcing, a sourcing role. You really got to it goes back to never fearing failure. You got to just go after the opportunities. You know your own weak points. You know you can either sit there and hide where you're weak at, or you can attack it head on, go do what you're weak at, and make that one your strong points. Because then in the end, you'll be much more well-rounded. What else? I'm going to start asking questions to you guys.
What things did you do in college that you really felt really pushed your resume through to the next level so you could get such a good career?
So I feel like that's a good question. I'm looking at my resume. So obviously I was very involved with baseball. I was very involved with our fundraisers and our charity events that we were doing. So and honestly, my main talking point in the interviews was either baseball or my internship. I mean, if you guys are willing to, big companies are hiring everywhere. It's just you got to find it. You're not gonna, if you don't want to work at GE or FMC or E Insurance, as far as a big company goes, there's not much in here. But if you're willing to relocate to a Nashville, Tennessee, where Mars is, I think it was the second largest private company in the United States. If you're willing to do that and just go through that experience, they see, wow, this kid's willing to leave his comfort zone and then has a great experience with an internship. So I think the internship really helped. And then, obviously, first thing on top of your resume is your GPA. So you can't slack off. I'm not a big fan that you have to sit there, be a bookworm, 4.0 student, do nothing else. That's not going to get you a job. But if you have that 4.0 and all this other stuff, this stuff's great. Coming to these, really good. I know Dr. Philbeck does the research all the time. Get involved with that. I don't know anything about really financial research, but it'd be just cool to learn about it. And he's not going to let you fail. That's he's never going to let you fail. If he sees you're struggling, he's gonna be behind you, pushing you the whole way. So take advantage of that while you have that kind of safety net now. Because now I'm in the work world. I don't know if I fall hard enough. I don't know if there's gonna be anything there to catch me. So take advantage of it while you guys have the time now. Just be involved. There's a lot of time that you take 2 hours a day, you have in class, and you go home and you're like, man, I need a nap, I need lunch, and then next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock, and you're like, well, I gotta go to bed for tomorrow. So don't be wasting time. Just really maximize your time, because when you get in work, you're gonna be there 7:30 to 5:36 on good days, and it's tough when you first start. It's tough to go through those straight hours where normally at Behrend I'd be 8 to 10, and then I'm off till the next day, or 8 to 1, and then I don't do anything. So you just gotta stay busy, and then that transition to work will be so much easier because now I'll get home at 9 o'clock and I'll have to just start my laundry, and it sucks, and I just wish I could go back to college some days and just sleep. But I mean, it's the nature of the beast. It's all coming. How many seniors are there here? So it's coming quicker for you guys and everybody else. So. But no, it's super exciting. I'm excited for you guys. Is anybody who else at GE? I know you two. Nice. You guys enjoy it? You trying to? One thing I can say about that is don't put all your eggs in one basket. So even though I was at Mars, I wasn't just banking on that full-time offer from Mars. I was applying at the bigger companies, elsewhere, just because anything could happen where, oh yeah, we're just not going to extend an offer to you. I've seen it. I've seen co-ops and I've seen interns that were sitting there banking on that GE offer. GE offer never came through, and then you're unemployed for a month or 2 months. So you can really leverage the GE internship. I can honestly say any company in the world would take. If you're a college grad or you're going to be a college grad with that GE co-op currently, you're going to field a ton of interviews. So I would stick the feet in the water everywhere, see what you can get, and leverage it, because I do know our internship and co-op programs are awesome. So it's a big piece of advice there. Don't put your eggs in one basket. Anything else?
What are you planning on rooting for?
So I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I was going to be rooting for Florida State, doing Tomahawk all night. But yeah, I don't think Clemson's that good. We can talk about it later. But anything else? Anything else about, I guess, the company or the program? Or you guys have specific questions, I'll stick around and talk to anybody. You can always, if anybody needs my number, text me, you can get it from Dr. Philbeck. I'm very open to talking to everybody. Yeah, I think we're good. I think I was, pretty close. I might ask a few questions.
Yeah.
Are you really the Pistons fan?
No.
No, but thanks a lot, guys, for having me. I hope you can take one thing I said out of this and run with it. Really, your career is what you want it to be, so don't let anything hold you back. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for coming to talk to us. That was awesome. All right, does anyone else have any questions, concerns? All right, new officers and or people visiting Erie Insurance, stay. Otherwise, we're good to go. Thanks for coming, guys.